So, quick introduction. I'll introduce speakers first. Myself, I'm the vice president of FormusPro here in North America, and I'll be your happy host. And then the man with the plan and all the technical details, Phil. I'll let you introduce yourself here.
Hi, yeah, I'm Phil Kameen. I'm a technical architect here at FormusPro. Yep, we solve business problems basically, and we use the Microsoft stack to do all this good stuff, which keeps with lots of stuff coming out of Microsoft all the time, and we're excited to show you some bits and pieces from the Power Platform, which is something we use.
Absolutely. There's our wonderful pictures and LinkedIn
Okay.
links. If you're so interested, you can go find us there. And then I think you might have a little more of
Oh
your
yes,
background here. So
a little
not
more
to sell
background.
yourself
That's right.
short.
Okay, absolutely. Yes, so the Open Group Architecture Foundation. So I'm a technical architect, so I don't do so much of the enterprise architecture type stuff. And yeah, the background in artificial intelligence from way back in the way. Yeah, like I say, I problem solve. And if you're interested in any technical bits and pieces, there's my blog, dynamicsjourney.wordpress.com. And yeah, dive in. If you've got anything, questions, like Todd says, do ask.
Nice, nice. And then we've got some interesting, exciting demos for us today. So, yeah, quick background on Formus Pro. So, first and foremost, we are a Microsoft partner, exclusive Microsoft partner. We only help our clients utilize Microsoft stuff, as it will. Very much focused on the Dynamics 365 product stack, and which we'll talk a bit about what that is today. Certified Business Applications Partner, which some we're very proud of. You can't just sort of raise your hand and say you're a Microsoft partner. You have to prove it. And there's actually some very stringent requirements and exams and certifications and things like that. And we have to go through and keep that going on an ongoing basis. And we're very, very proud of the technical team that we have that lets us qualify to do that. A little bit more background on the company as well. So the company's based in the UK. I'm now expanding here in the US. Recently had our 12th birthday, so the company's been around a bit.
Yeah.
And we've actually gotten some kudos and some notice for our growth, particularly there in the UK, that we're kind of proud of. So Phil alluded to, we're technical folks that help our clients solve business problems with Microsoft technology. So
Yeah.
simple as that. And then I think we'll jump into the agenda, and then Phil, I'll get a little bit out of the way and let you talk more about what we're talking about here today. So yeah, just quick overview. We're going to focus on Power Platform, which is part of the Dynamics 365 catalog, if you will. And we want to come up with some examples of, okay, yeah, it's this interesting tool set for the Swiss Army knife. What do I do with it? So we've kind of come up with some scenarios that we think are pretty realistic, similar to what some of our clients have come across and how we've helped them before. And we could talk about that, but it's more fun to show you, right? And so we've got a whole bunch of demos that Phil's take some time to put together and show it. We won't just talk about it. We're trying to make it real here. And then, yeah, if you get questions, throw them in chat, or we can pick them up, towards the end here as well. So with that, I think Phil, I'll let you take the more technical angle on a couple of things here.
Yeah, sure. So, like Todd said, we're talking about the Power Platform, and it's like the name suggests, it is now a platform. And although it's been a mixture of products that have sort of 5 years or so coalesced, and originally all these products are available separately: Customer Insights, Power BI. But once you introduce the Power Platform, then there's a level of integration that's available. And including over the last 12, 18 months, of course, we've got Copilot come across as well. And it's not something that just kind of appears here, there, and everywhere. Although it's available across the product, it's baked in a number of interesting ways that mean that, if you were to create some kind of, any kind of data models within a Copilot or within AI, then they're able to bring those to the surface within the business product as well. So it makes it very powerful. On top of everything else, we use Microsoft 365. That tends to be, if you like, effectively our means of identifying people. And seeing as pretty much everyone has Word or Excel or something else on their desktop, that's also part of Microsoft 365. And so that's another doorway into this technology, and a way that the integration between all of these technologies works is fairly seamless, which is obviously great for Microsoft and also pretty useful for you as a business.
Yeah, and I always like to tell people, yeah, don't get worried about its complexity. We worry about that. That's what we do, is try to simplify the complexity of the covers to solve your business problem here. So
Well, we're talking about the Power Platform, and like I mentioned, there's all these different tools that we have here on the slide in front of us. We've got Power BI, so broadly speaking, reporting, but maybe it's a little bit more than that, and we'll show a couple of examples. Power Apps, that's application development, and there's kind of two flavors of that. One is called a model-driven app, and the other one is called a Canvas app. We're going to show you a couple of flavors of those. Power Automate, there's workflow automation. So you can build all these little data stores up, but if you want a business process to operate between, for example, we get some details in from a portal. What do we want to do with that data? Do we want to push it into another part of the systems, or do we want to do some transform on it? Power Automate is our guy. Power Virtual Agents. We're not going to talk much about Power Virtual Agents today beyond I think we talk a little bit about, the customer service side of things. And our demo doesn't really show that. However, we have talked a lot about Power Virtual Agents and co-pilots in previous demos. So if you are interested in that, certainly do jump onto our YouTube channel and you'll be able to see more about it. And last but not least over here, Power Pages. So website development. And that's a great way of leveraging all of the data that you have within your business systems and being able to take information in from the outside world. And we'll show you a pattern as well where you bring in that information. You don't necessarily, and you park it so it's a little bit safer, but also how it can very quickly, you can put together websites and expose those websites and use them as part of your business processes.
yeah, so here's what we want to concoct a hypothetical, although this looks very much like some clients that we've worked with in the past. So if you've ever seen a Microsoft demo, they have this fictional company called Contoso. And so we're actually using what we're referring to as our favorite charitable organization, the foundation from Contoso. So Contoso Cares is our hypothetical sort of not-for-profit that we're going to talk about here. And we'll talk about a couple different scenarios here, right? Yeah, there's a number of different user scenarios and profiles that we'll go through here. We're sort of taking initially the view of development director Dan. So so Dan is in charge of a number of things for his nonprofit. Like lots of nonprofits wears lots of hats. And so he definitely, can use all the help he can get. So the first scenario we talked about is, hey, we've got this upcoming annual gala, right? And so, for a lot of organizations, this is the primary source of funding sometimes for the organization. Very important event, lots of moving parts, and frankly, they're a lot of work, right? And so, typically can be a lot of manual things, a lot of spreadsheets trying to clip things together and manual things like that. And it's just a lot of effort. So we've got some ideas, and I think we'll show a little bit how, hey, if we have a Power Platform at our disposal, here's some ways we could actually make that a bit easier. So with that, we want to get the word out, right? We're going to have this event. Great if people know about it. We want to really make it easy for our attendees to let us know that they're coming, right? And then the real key thing here, two things. As I sort of mentioned, we want to reduce that manual effort, save cycles, so you can focus on the other things that you have to worry about, for your role. To me, I think one of the critical things here is that we're able to capture that data. And so you have it going forward, right? And it's too often it's the case where you do something sort of one-off, and again, it's these spreadsheets and things just kind of piece together, post-it notes and the like. That's great. You get through the event, but then come around next year, you're starting over. And you don't have the visibility throughout the year of who's been your supporters and how much they supported you. There's just a lot of marketing and basically donor stakeholder sort of things that you can do if you have the data. So that's one of the things we want to make sure is that we're doing this in a way that we capture that data and we've got it.
Yeah, I mean, so we're going to demo a couple of the tranches that we showed earlier. The Power Pages, the Power Platform, a little bit of Power BI. There are lots of different ways of doing this kind of stuff in the Power Platform. And one of the first things you might think to yourself is, oh, great, well, they're just going to show me the customer insights journeys, which is the new name for the marketing tool that's built on top of the Power Platform. But we're showing you a much more slightly homebrewed look at the world. And the idea behind that is that if you like, it's certainly from a licensing perspective, it's a little bit cheaper, but it's able to show and demo some of those items that if you were to just dive in and look at a marketing tool, then you wouldn't be able to see everything in the background. So what we're doing is we're trying to show you, if you like, a little bit behind the scenery that things like marketing tools use, but we're going to show you actually how we put those together. And hopefully that'll spring off some ideas, and you'll think to yourself, oh, great, well, I could use that and twist that in a little way and use it in a slightly stronger way, or in my own custom way within my own business. We're going to talk about the Power Pages portal. So this is a Power Pages portal. It looks pretty much like any other website because that's what it is. But in the background, what's happening is that these forms are actually something that we can use within we create within the Power Platform, and then we expose onto the portal. And then it gives us nice things like being able to put a capture on there and stuff like that. So let's go with part of the demo, and we're going to use Todd 3. I've been cloning Todd quite hard because he's a hardworking man, and
We'll keep doing so get it right. But yes.
So we're gonna have a clone of Todd, and part of what we were talking about before, it's going to be an event where you can bid. So we're going to show some other bits as well. So that means our information has gone back in to Dynamics. Dynamics, the Power Platform, or our application. There's a lot of different words I use sometimes for these applications because of the names they've had over the years. But here we are. We have
and just one quick thing, make sure everybody understands what we're showing there, Phil. So that's a public-facing website. So the idea that I can actually go do something custom, for for my annual event, and that's really really easy to do. And so I can see that on on my PC, on my iPhone or whatever. Makes it really really easy for my attendees to get the information, and to register. And again, as you'll see, guess what? We've got that data behind the scenes now. We can do something with it.
So, those records have come back into the system, and then I've used Power Automate to turn those records into something very specific for both contacts and for contact event roles. And so that basically is my list of people. And if I was, if we're working at Contoso Cares, we've got all these items, we've got these people, we know they're coming to my event, and my first job is going to be to assign them a table. So here I am within this model-driven app. My data's come in. I go, okay, we've just had Todd 3. I know he's a clone, and great. We're going to assign him to a table. So I've created a number of tables already. I can just select these tables, and we can add Todd to the table. I'll do save and close, and he effectively drops off this list. And I know that I've done my job now, and I can move on to the next part of the process. And with that, basically, once someone's come into the system, we've also got a flow, and the flow is going to send them an email. It's very straightforward to create these things. This is another part of the system, of the Power Platform, and that's called Power Automate. And these flows, I can build them very simply. I can go in, I can drag and drop items onto here. I can just by adding an action or changing a branch, and then I can get the information I need, and this queries that event information, and then I can send out an email, and I put in some text here. And as I was bidding this, I thought to myself, oh, it takes ages for me to write emails. I went over to Copilot, and I typed into Copilot, what should I write in an email for this stuff? And so Copilot came up with some of this information, and that's what built it even quicker for me.
Yeah, and a couple of things there, Phil, but important. The thing I really like about that, so yeah, again, it's some of the logistics of these things. Hey, you gotta, having everybody at the table sounds like a minor thing. It's a big deal, that. And so the fact that you got a quick view, I can instantly see, hey, I've got that done. That's great. That's very helpful. And again, that flow, so that creates, easily an automated process, so I want to make sure everybody coming to the event that I send them a reminder email, that can be just a manual headache. And guess what? The system will do that, for us. We can put, we can put automation in the system. So, I don't have to worry, a few days before. I know that email is going to go out. Everyone's going to get the reminder. I'm going to get everyone, showing up to the event like we want.
And so remember, this is all custom stuff at the moment. but it's all very straightforward to do, and it's all it syncs together. So, I can be inside a Power Automate, and I'm working, for example, with my events table, which has got all my events information, and I can just go in and I can query that events table, and that way I get straight away to the numbers I want.
Perfect. All right. So the next step in the scenario, and I should have done a disclaimer earlier on, is that hey, we love Copilot. We leverage AI, every day the work that we do internally for our clients. So some of the artwork that you see in our presentations, that is probably generated by AI, and so some looks really good, some it's a little fuzzy around the edges, but to give you an idea just how how integrated it can be. So the next sort of scenario I want to talk about is okay, now, hey, guess what? It's the big day. We're having our big gala event. This is really important. Lots of things that you have to worry about. And so we want to make sure that, as people are coming in, they've got a really easy way that we can, they check them in and then we know they're there. Give them their table numbers, also give them the bid numbers, right? So, hey, if I'm going to go try and raise money, that's really important. And ideally, I want a way to sort of keep them engaged through the event, right? And, so how do I, if there's some item they're bidding on, to make sure that it's easy, they can go see, what the current, bid on that, and sort of encourage everybody to participate and win. And I've kind of harped on this and will continue to. I want to capture all that data going forward. So knowing
Yeah.
actually what's happening in the event, having all that. A record of all those transactions and all that, in my core system that I can use for all these other sort of things throughout the year. It's pretty important. So with that, we're at the event, and now what's going to happen?
So let's just jump into our demo. So we've already shown the Power Automate, the easy send of those reminder emails. So that's great that they've shown up. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to sit at the desk. We're going to come in and we're going to go, hi, Todd 3. We're going to check you in. And Todd says we're going to give you a table number and tell you how to bid. So this is the model-driven app I mentioned before. You can see it's quite fixed. It works in a very, I suppose, a straightforward way. I can modify which fields and things, but it's always got the same look and feel. So if you're presenting something to the outside world, it may be that you think to yourself, well, I wouldn't show them this. I would want something a bit nicer to look at. And so what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to jump across into and show you behind the background a little bit. This is in my event demo. I've come up with a different type of application called a Canvas app. And let's fire this one up. And when we fire this up, we're going to see that this looks very different. Suddenly, I'm no longer fixed in terms of where things are and then how it looks. I can do exactly what I want to do. But at the same time, I've got all the power of the back end working for me. So all of that data that the portal's put in, all of that work that I've done in terms of setting tables and things like that, that's all available to me. And so I can then use that in here, and I'll hit the play button on this demo, and we can see that we've got an application. And the great thing about this is that it can be running on a desktop like it is at the moment, or we can say, oh, I've only got an iPhone 8, so I need to work it this way, and we can go through and you can check that it works. So this is much more powerful, I guess. The other versions, they are responsive to an extent, but this one is capable of being a lot more responsive. So let's go back, and what we're going to do is I've got my list of events and I'm at the desk and I want to check in. So I've got a search. I can put in Todd 3 and I can find Todd 3. There he is. He got booked into the lower table, but he's not been checked in. But I can see that he's bidding. So I can say, hey, hi, Todd 3. You're going to be using bid number 105. What we can also do is, in these kind of things, you could create images that you could choose to send to their phone if they've given you a phone number, and they could use that directly to check in, or you could send text messages. All these things are available through the power of the Power Automate at the back, which has several hundred connectors pointing to lots of different systems. And so you can send this information to customers and to clients completely under your own control. So let's check in. So great, we checked in at 5:30. Happy days. Now that it's checked in, we'll say here's lower table and bid number 105. So I'll give Todd that URL, and I think when Todd goes to 105, we can see that Todd hasn't made any bids yet. Todd, do you think you're going to bid?
Yeah, that there's a couple of paintings there that that I have a spot for in my house. So yeah, definitely let's jump in on that.
Okay, let's make sure we engage. So what I'm doing here is we're in a Power Apps portal, the Power Pages portal as it's sometimes referred to, and this is custom information. And what it's doing is it's updating real time the information in the background. So if we jump back into our auction and we look at our auction bids, we can see all of that information and how much is happening and where it's happening. So if I were to look at Todd's auction item, which I believe is this lovely painting,
Yeah.
and we can see the related data, and yeah, that's Todd. He's hard at work there, bidding away. And so I'm just going to change the size of that window for a second and jump to, we've got, just do another window, incognito window. And it may well be that somebody else is bidding. So let's see how the system will behave. So I know that there's a 102. And so 102 at the moment, he sees that he's been outbid. So I think it's time for me to outbid you, Todd. Yes, I am now the highest bidder. And let's see how Todd gets on. What are we going to do, Todd?
Well, first off, I'm going to ask you to change the system so we can block that other bidder. But given that, hey, I'm supporting the charity and all that, so yeah, hey, let's go up to 1,500. Let's
go to 1,500 and we can bid. So that goes ahead, and we can see exactly here that we'll see that this guy's lost out on Mr. Bidding. He's lost out to Mr. Todd 3. And all the way in the background, what's happening is we're keeping all this information. And we're using this entire system in order to put it forwards.
Yeah, and what's really slick about this, I think, Phil, is that literally everybody can have this in their hand at the event, right? And so you can give somebody a link when they check in, they get access, to your custom app, and then they're walking around with their phones during the course of the evening, and
Absolutely,
you're going to see this, so which is fabulous.
Yeah. And a kind of a last but not least, really, from our demo was the auction catalog. So you've seen this stuff here at the bottom. This is completely generated again. It's a live site. Let's go to the auction catalog. So we put it together. So you don't have to be a web designer, and you can probably tell to an extent from that one there. But this information is all again kept in your system. So if you wanted to switch this up and to add a little bit of additional extra details, we can go and grab that data and bring it to the front end. So I can select active auction items here if I wanted to on my auction catalog and up it. So let's just, we've got the edit the list, and I think that's required. And it will show you a demo. So that's showing test data. Let's sync that and preview it. Give that a second. And hopefully this illustrates how easy it is to bring data from your system and through to that front end. And a lot of the time, you're also getting a number of these warnings here as well. So managing table permissions. So along this route, even if you're not a hardcore techie, you're going to be guided as to how you can do this and as to sort of what's going to happen in your system, and give them warnings about, where details are not quite right. So, this list needs a little bit of work and certainly could do with some kind of filter on it, but hopefully it's an illustration how straightforward it is to modify the front end, using the back end, the Power Platform data, and bring that through into Power Pages.
Nice. Yeah, I've been involved in some of these events. Maintaining that catalog is a lot of work, right? And so that's kind of the
Absolutely.
And obviously very critical. This is your big fundraising event for the year. You want that right, and it's a way to capture all that and hopefully make life a little bit easier there. So
we've done our demos there. Showed a little bit. So a lot of that text that I put in there, Todd, all Copilot. I didn't have to make up any nonsense about those paintings. It took a look and it said, why don't you come up with this? And that's been, again, it's a lot of big chunks of that demo. I was able to use Copilot in the background, which might not be, there's not all the same Copilots. There's a lot of different Copilots across Microsoft, but they're always available in a lot of very powerful ways and means of basically minimizing or certainly reducing the amount of donkey work that you have to do in your day-to-day business.
And I don't think I mentioned in the beginning. Phil's in the UK. I'm in the US. So donkey work is a UK term. So we'll point that out.
Is there
I don't know
an
if there's a
Americanism
direct
for donkey
equivalent.
work?
Yeah, I mean, it's just sort of drudgery, just sort of the grunt work kind of kind
Drudgery.
of things, right? Yeah, so, but I think we know what donkey work means, but hey, we'd like to avoid that, wherever we are.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. And I think that's where AI is the winner, right? In terms of being able to get rid of the drudgery, if
no,
you can.
absolutely. And it's one of the things that it's like, okay, at least get you started. It's not going to do the whole thing because you're always and I'll since Microsoft's not on the call, I'll make sure I include some of their spiel and they're always very clear and this is valid that you're always in control as the end user, right? And so it's just one of those things that can help get you started. If you write an auction catalog with hundreds of items in it. There's some donkey work there, as you would say, Phil. This can help get you over some of that. So anyway,
Absolutely.
all right. So one more section here. So hey, guess what? We had all those great tools that enable us to have a fantastic event. I've got a new painting in my house. It's very exciting. But now what do I do afterwards, right? So now guess what? I'm back in Contelso Cares. What can I do with this data? How can I make sure I understand who my biggest donors were? How can I do outreach to them throughout the year, et cetera, et cetera. So, now that we've done all this, what kind of things could we look at, with the data?
Yeah, absolutely. So all of that stuff that we were doing, where Todd and I were banging those numbers, it's all being recorded into your Dataverse. So Dataverse, I don't think I mentioned Dataverse. It kind of it is an optional item really within the Power Platform, but in terms of the engine and what's available to you, it does tend to underpin an awful lot of what you do. And certainly any systems like this where you want to record that information, it would make a lot of sense to put it into Dataverse. And there's lots of business process tools and things available in it. But what we're going to show you here is another little quick and easy demo on so we've got our auction catalog. So we're going to go back into here and we've got our auction bids. And something that's available across the entirety of all of these model driven maps is this visualize this view button. And what it does is it opens up Power BI and it looks and does a very high level analysis. This is not utilizing Copilot. It is just part of Power BI, which is in turn also part of a big number of analytics suites that are available across the Power Platform, but this is the main way in. And without me having to do any work at all, it's come up with a quick summary of my auction bids. Now I'm looking at this and I think to myself, well, the sum of bid amount is really not that useful, but why don't we go with the maximum bid amount, and then we can it'll start to give us an idea of which users and which items were generating the most revenue for us. And so once you've got that information and we start looking at it against the contact information as well, and then I can also drive into the event, and that should really skew the data in a big way, then we start to get interesting insights into that data. And this is available like I mentioned, on all these model-driven apps. You can take this lens and you can point it at your events or something else. But the way we've constructed this application is that we have this the contact event role, and that's the item that pulls all the data together and gives us some interesting insights in terms of who was available, how much they spent, and items like that.
Yeah, so a couple things there that again we think it's so important. You have that data in your core system, so you start to do planning for next year. And it's like, okay, which items got the most interest and activity, which didn't. You can sort of tune some of that. Probably more important is that donor information, so you have an idea of what that donor activity is. Hey, you saw me, spend pretty well on that painting. Maybe I get to the head table next year, right? And so, you do some things
Absolutely.
like that. Right. And so, again, we didn't do as opposed to having these things sort of completely, the data silos, Excel spreadsheets, post-its. You've got all this data captured in a spot where you can use to make good decisions, for your organization going forward. So simple as that.
Yeah, yeah. And oh, Copilot, the big C word. Yeah, so this we haven't shown you a lot of Copilot during this demo. We've done demos before where we've done a lot of Copilot. And what we were like what I was getting at before is that a lot of this stuff really it underpins if you're going to do any work with AI, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Copilot, but I recommend it. Um, this information will is able then to drive any models and any knowledge that your AI has. And once your AI has that knowledge, and it's good solid knowledge like this, then you can utilize it then to get further and further insights. So we've got here some different applications, and these all live on top of the Power Platform. So you can buy Power Platform and just have Power Platform like we showed you before, and you can build out your own tables and your own processes. But Microsoft, of course, have come up with a fantastic set of tools that they've been building over years and years, basically, that leverage that kind of information and have inbuilt processes, leads to opportunity processes. For example, in sales, customer insights is all good marketing stuff. Customer service, if you're dealing with cases and what have you. Field service, if you're going out into the field and you want to do servicing on tools or what have you, it's all available there. All the tables already exist. And Business Central, of course, for any of that finance information. And underpinning a lot of this stuff is that Power Platform data. And I think, like Todd showed in a previous slide, we have Copilot that's able to interrogate all that data and build up models that you can then utilize in order, hopefully, to give you some level of business advantage.
Yeah, and the thing that, and again, hey, we're biased. We're a Microsoft partner, but the feedback we get from our clients is all really, really positive on this. And so sort of Phil alluded to a couple times there. It's not like you have to go and AI is no longer an afterthought. AI is part of the system. And that's really the approach Microsoft, is taking. So, if you're using some of these products in Dynamics 365, you're going to have some AI capability in there. The other thing that's pretty interesting to me, and I'm still a geek at heart, is that how quickly these things are evolving, right? And so I heard this somewhere else. I should give them credit, but I'll still anyway. Is that the version that we have of Copilot in all different forms, today is better than what we had yesterday. And what that means is because a couple of things. The technology is evolving very quickly, but also these models, the way they work, is that the more data you have, the more informed they become, the more valuable they become. So it's pretty interesting when you put these. We put these into our client organizations, and they. I'll use the term "get smarter over time." It's not really, it's artificial. They're not really
Yeah,
smarter, but more functional over time. So anyway, we can and we will spend more time in the future on just that. But yeah, hopefully this give you a taste of what we can do. A little bit of contrived scenario, but very much taken from real life. And then we've seen our some clients that have these kind of scenarios. And again, really like that we're able to do these sort of things custom for a given event, sort of a one-off thing, but it's tied into these core systems that are used, to manage your organization, throughout the year. So
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
that's what we do. Yeah. So hopefully we haven't, made everybody's eyes glaze over too much. We did cover a lot of territory there in a short amount of time. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out. Yeah, we'd be happy to go
Yep,
dive into more detail, look at your specific situation.
absolutely. Like I say, problem solving is our thing, and yeah, I think we've got a great tool set to help with that.
Phil, as always. Thanks for
Thank you
the
so much,
wonderful,
mate.
thanks for the wonderful demo, and we will see you next time. Thank you.
Great stuff. Take care, everyone.
Thanks.